crafters, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and I'm coming to you today with a card share. And this is going to be a lengthy video because I'm going to share with you about 12 different cards that I've made using Kokorosa Studio dies. And I'm going to probably share this as satmornmakes, just to share with the group as well what I've been working on this week. I want to just give you a heads up because it's going to be a lengthy video with a lot of details. Then please pause the video if you like now. Go grab a cup of whatever you like to drink and come back. And also don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my channel. And I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers who've been leaving such kind comments. And also to the older subscribers from my channel, thank you so much for being with me throughout this year and just really encouraging me to keep going as far as this crafty journey is concerned. And those of you who know what I'm referring to, then you'll understand why I'm saying that. So first, let's go with the dies that I'm going to be sharing. And of course, this is only one stack. So this is the first one that I'm sharing with you. And it's got this kind of Southwestern look to it, in my opinion. I'm going to be linking, by the way, the names of all of the dies that I shared below in the description bar of this video. And also the discount code that you can use that will be only for my subscribers. You'll get that code that you can take advantage of. This die measures 4 by 5.5. So it's big enough for a standard size US card. And here's how I have used it. I wanted to make Christmas cards and cards that I could use throughout the winter as well. So what I did here was that I cut it out of this beautiful silver paper that I have in my stash. I cut it out of that color first. And I also cut it out of this green paper, only I removed a portion here and there. As you can see, all I did was that I snipped out the little portions that were more delicate, and that gave me kind of like this little window effect. And then what I did was that I layered all of that on top of a pink piece of paper. I did use foam to pop it up, so it's got dimension. And then I topped it off with this adorable little gnome that was given to me as a gift. And of course, I made him shiny and colored him in using different pastel Copics, and I also added little gems and then the word jolly, and this is from a Tim Holtz die that I've been working with. And I just backed that up with the same color. I just colored it in a darker teal, and then also layered this onto vellum. That's another material I love to use. And this is the result, and I'm really happy with it. Now moving on to this die set here, which as you can tell has a little heart that cuts out. And it also comes with the little panels that fit inside. They fit like little puzzle pieces, and each one is slightly different, just so you know. But you can use it as is like this, and it does cut out the outer frame as well as all of these interior pieces, or you can use it in conjunction with these pieces if you like. Or you can, of course, cut these separately and then layer them on top of this, and the little heart does cut out of the center. Creating Christmas cards. Here's one of them. And what I did is that what you see in white is what cut out with the die. I matted it in a dark green color here. And then I also used the same die set one more time to cut it out of red paper. And that's why this red paper goes all the way to the border here of the white. And then on top of that, I layered these dies that are cut out with using Sizzix dies. I heat embossed the sentiment. It says Jesus is the heart of Christmas. And I also heat embossed the nativity scene here. And then I used Nouveau drops to go ahead and give that a little bit of texture. This is mulberry red paper. And the other paper here is from a stack that I've been working on, as well as the that green. But I'm really happy with the result. I love that it draws the eye down to this image here that I was trying to showcase. And here are two other ways in which I use the same die. And here's where you get to see how you can really layer up the different pieces. Here I cut it out of white paper. I also cut it out of this golden paper using the background die only. That allowed me to go ahead and place that striped paper to fit right to the border of that white paper. And then I use the layering pieces to cut out this Maggie Holmes paper that has different little cameras on it. And I also cut it out with gold cardstock there. I did put that on a foam dot. And this is the smallest size card, as I mentioned before, that you could make, and that is 4 by 5.5. However, you can go ahead and frame it even larger for a 5 by 7 card, and you can get something like this. Now here is the frame that I cut out with this striped golden paper. There you see the frame. Then I used a second paper as the background to place that frame onto, and then I did use the die set one more time, only the layering pieces, I'm sorry, to go ahead and cut out this other Maggie Holmes paper. And then in the center, I cut this out of white cardstock for this one. So I took that white heart and I colored it in with Copics and gave it a little bit of shine to match the pinks and all of that. And I'm really happy with that as well. So you get to see the variety of what you can do with just one die, just depending on the papers that you use and the placement, and also coloring. The next die, I'm sorry, that I used was this one. I think this might be my favorite out of all the ones that I picked out. It cuts out in 2 panels, just like so. I used both panels together, and I also used it to dry emboss. You see how I cut it out of this light blue paper, and you see all of those beautiful motifs there. You also see the zigzag of where there are 2 pieces of paper. However, because I placed them close together, it's barely noticeable. And I layered that onto the silver cardstock. I also added Nouveau glitter drops to the centers to match the little string that I use for these little skates. And I matted that onto white cardstock, and then I did another double matting of light blue onto silver. And the sentiment reads, "Deck the halls." I used a Tim Holtz snowflake and then this little ephemera. These papers, by the way, are from Shabby Art Boutique, and I've used Here several. It is in the background. I used it to emboss onto that silver paper and just left it all as one and used it as a layering piece on this card. This is the house die set, and I'm sorry I have glitter everywhere, but this is Paints and Glitter. So this die set is absolutely fabulous. It is meticulous. It is very time consuming, but the results are beautiful. As you can see here, it cuts one entire piece, which is the little house. It's tall and narrow, and this house, by the way, measures just under 5 inches by just under 2 inches. Then it came with these panels here, the largest rectangles that I'm pointing out here, will layer onto that house if you want them to. These are very similar in size, so I don't know why they did 2 of that size. But then there's this one here. You can layer there if you'd like. You can make this very dimensional if you want to. Or you can do what I did, which is to cut out this panel. And then what I did was that I matched up the pieces like so to cut out either these particular pieces, cut them out of that background, because you can do that. You can place this one here, for instance, and cut out that little window. You can use this one and only cut out the smaller frame of the window and that little dome portion. You can line it up like so, because this does emboss into the paper. And then you have all of these other options of different ways in which you can either cut into the paper or cut it out and then cut into the windows, for instance, and cut out all those little windows if you'd like. There's also little bricks that you can cut and then layer onto the little house. There is the step, the front step, There's this portion here that you can use just to decorate if you want to use it like so, or make a different type of roof. You could even layer these in and then cut them down to give yourself a different type of slatted roof there. Tons of possibilities with this die set. So let me show you the card that I made. And as you can see here, I made 3 little houses, and they look to be different sizes, but the only one that I used the entire die set, or the length of the house, was this one here. I did go ahead and cut it out of several different pieces of paper. So for instance, I took here the white rooftop that had been part of maybe another house. I don't know how many times I cut it out, and colored it in green. Did the same thing over here, colored it in pink, and then I actually added a different dye on there to just give it that little swirl. Because I cut it out of the background of the white cardstock, I was able to remove the little windows, the bricks, and that sort of thing. So that gave me the opportunity to layer them on top of that house. I also did use crackle paste onto some of these. And then on this one here, I cut away the windows. And then on the background, I used another shabby chic paper that I had from Shabby Art Boutique. I went ahead and placed the windows back in there, but instead of putting them back in the same color, I placed them in the white cardstock. And over here, the windows and that I removed from this little house, I placed onto this white house over here. And I also did cut them down because, as you can see, you don't have to use the entire length of it. You can cut it here. And I could have actually added one more little house and made it kind of like a little shop or something like that. But I thought it would be nice to have it in different heights. I also added some little trees. This is just a little die here from my stash that I've had forever. And then the word joy, 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 which is from Sizzix. And the background here is from Shabby Art Boutique. The hills of snow that you see were actually cut using a mini album die that I have from Tonic Studios. I really like the stippling edge. And then I just cut it down to fit, to give me some snow because I don't have a hill die. And of course you can see all the chunky glitter to make a beautiful winter scene. So let me give you a close up there. And I hope you like it because I really love the results. I did, of course, do some splatter on that. I do that on a lot of my cards. Now, I did share with you that skate. So that comes like this. And it's just one skate. And it comes with the layering pieces. So, of course, let's go back to that card so I can point out the skate will cut out in one piece, and then you can layer on top of it what you see here in glitter and in that holographic paper. So what I did was, because the little holes cut out, I threaded them as a red cord, and the other one is a light blue raffia. And then I added, of course, glitter, and I did color in the middle portion in a very light gray, so as to give it a little bit of shadow. And I also used an alcohol marker to give that light blue color around it so that it would have a little bit of depth, even though I was keeping the skates white. And of course, I finished it off with that little bow to make it look like they're hanging from the wall. But that's an adorable little set as well. Is the typewriter, but it's called Printing Machine on the website. It comes with these 2 words. One of them reads hello, the other one says congratulations. It comes with a little rectangle that you can fit into the slot here to make your little letter. It also comes with the little envelope so that you can mail out the letter that you just typed up. But I thought this was a cute set, so I did pick that one up. Let's measure this one. This is the size of the typewriter. So this measures 4 by 3.5. If you have any questions on the other sizes, let me know. I'll be happy to. The card that I made is this one here. And what I did is that I cut it out twice. Once in white cardstock, and then the second time in this decorative paper from Shabby Art Boutique. It's got the pretty little polka dots on it. And what I did is that I cut it wherever the die left the indentation, I cut out those portions and then layered them on top of the white paper. But of course, as you can tell, I did use my mousses and also Nuvo, just all sorts of Nuvo product all over this card. And then I also used the chunky gloss glitter here, and I also made it a little more shabby by using Distress Oxide inks to give it that old worn out look. Here's the phrase hello. I did not use the congratulations, but it does cut out like this. I didn't poke out the little portions there, but you can see the size of it, so it would fit like that. But instead I used the hello. And here are the little letters. I did go ahead and just glue them shut and then use a little bit of twine. And then here I made the little twine bow. And then here's just a little piece of paper that I stamped and slid in here. It says peace, love, and joy. And here is some dry embossing, crackle paste, and glitter placed on that. And I also did dry emboss the background paper in an embossing folder that has music notes on it, because I did use this paper here and wanted it to all be cohesive. And this paper is the same size rectangle, only this one I curled up, and then this one I used a tool that makes it look like corrugated cardboard. And that's it for that card. Nice and shimmery, just the way I like them. Here's the next die set that I wanted to share with you, and this is another mailbox, well, or a mailbox, and it comes with all of these pieces here, and I lined them up here on what I call my little dashboard so that you can see how the pieces come. I had to separate all of these, but it does come with 2 little flowers, 3 little leaves, and then it comes with these rectangular pieces. 2 of them can be used like letters, or you can use them to decorate your little mailbox. This is the little closure, and then this is the little door that would open, and also a little decorative piece there. So I'm going to share how I used it. Here is one of the mailboxes, and as you can see here, I did color it in. I used watercolor paper, and then I used Distress Oxides to color it in with a stencil as well, but to add the little bricks. And then here's the little layering pieces. I just cut them out of gold cardstock, and I went ahead and added glitter and just shabbied it up with white ink, and I added a little gem there in the center. Those little pieces here that look like letters poking out, I also stamped, and those I cut out using both of the little rectangles that came with it, like that. And then here on the top you see the little flower and the leaves, and also the layering flower I put in the center. I colored that using Nuvo pens, and then I also added Nuvo product there, like little glitter drops and all of that. I layered this onto a piece of vellum here that I also decorated using mousse, Nuvo mousse, and a Tonic Studio stencil. And then the background I also decorated by using a dry embossing folder. I also used a stencil with layered crackle mousse. I added the little gems. It's 1225. This was a stamp. I stamped that using red ink, and so did I stamped the 'Tis the Season also. It's that red paper that came from Shabby Art Boutique, so I correct myself. These were 2 stamps. I created a second card using that same little mailbox. So again, I used a different color ink to create the little bricks and also gave it little shadows here and there. I used the same little flowers, only this time I layered them differently. And I used oxide ink to paint them in, I believe. I also used crackle mousse, and I also added glitter. And in the background, I dry embossed that piece of paper and also inked it so that it would be pink. I used a stencil from Tonic Studios to create the little flowers. And then I also used the same stamp again for the 1225 and the 'Tis the Season, and a separate stamp for the best gift of all is Jesus, and that's on a piece of vellum here. And then I just used glitter on the edges of that paper that I distressed and layered onto top or red cardstock. And here's that other die that I had mentioned before. So super glimmery and Christmassy. I really like the results of these, but I did want to make them in 2 separate color palettes. So there's that. Then the next set that I'm going to share with you is this little kitty cat here. And this one has little butterflies and flowers cut into it. And it is so super cute. So let me show it this way. This measures from top to bottom 4 3/4, and at the widest point 4 inches. So it's a nice size. And I created this little card here. I cut it using glitter cardstock, as you can tell. I layered it onto vellum. I created a little bow using a different die that I have in my stash, and I added the little embroidery floss there. But the bow matches the background because this was paper that I had colored using different Nouveau shimmers, and then I layered that onto this green polka dot paper. It's a very delicate looking card in my opinion, but I really, really like it. I think it's adorable. It doesn't have a sentiment because it can be used for many different reasons, and for that I'll leave it blank for now. The next die set that I'm going to share with you is this one here. It's the one with the little kites and clouds, and this one measures 5.5 by 4. How I used it, I cut it out of the silver paper. I went ahead and left, or placed back in the little clouds because I adhered it onto vellum. And then here, where the vellum would have shown, I did use Nouveau drops and also Nouveau glitter to give it some color. And here there's Nouveau drops as well, just different colors. And then I topped it off with little Nouveau sequins from Tonic. Everything Nouveau that I say is all from Tonic Studios. And then on the edge here, I also added kind of just an iridescent Nouveau drop to give it a little bit of shine. And that is layered onto a green piece of cardstock, then the purple, and then the pink. So there's 3 separate layers aside from the layer of vellum that I used for this this die. And I just thought it came out so pretty. And last but not least, I did receive this little die set here that I thought was so cute. And this is a little kitty cat on top of what looks to be like a little box, and it comes with a little paws. This measures just under 3 inches by I would say 4 inches. And I made a square card using that. And I get a giggle every time I look at it. I could not stop laughing earlier when I was making it because I colored in the kitty cat. First of all, I cut this out of white cardstock. I then cut it again with the blue cardstock, and so I just cut away the pieces there and then layered it together. But I decided to make a shaker, as you can tell. I colored in all of the detail using alcohol markers, and then I gave them little funny eyes. Can't get enough of the eyes. And then because I decided to use this paper, which you can also pick up at Kokorosa, this was actually sent to me by a different company, but they have it as well. And it looks kind of like intergalactic. Then I just added the little stars all the way around. And on the inside, I used the little paw prints that you can see there with what was left over cut out from one of the other pieces. So because it cuts in with a little tail, I kind of covered that up with one of the paws. And then I just added that little banner that's been in my stash for a while. And that completes my card video for December for Kokorosa. Let me know which is your favorite. Do you like the super duper shabby with all the drops and all that good stuff? Or do you like the more simple card? And in any case, I hope that you've enjoyed the video. I know it was long, but if you have any questions, reach out to me. As I said before, it'll all be linked below. And I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.